In previous videos, I've cycled through parts of Sanford and Lake Mary. In this video, I'll cycle a loop route that takes me through the heart of both of these cities. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ed Cycles. I'm your host, Ed. I'm on the shore of beautiful Lake Monroe in Sanford, Florida, and today I'll be cycling a route that takes a look at both the cities of Sanford and Lake Mary. The start of today's route is about 20 miles north of downtown Orlando. Take Interstate 4 and go east on State Road 46 at exit 101D for about 4¼ miles, and then left onto Park Avenue. Go about 3 blocks up to Seminole Boulevard. I'm beginning today's ride here at Veterans Memorial Park on the shore of Lake Monroe. The route today goes south on Park Avenue to 1st Street in Sanford. Then I'll go east along 1st Street till it ends at Mellonville Avenue. Then I'll turn right and go south on Mellonville Avenue, and then go east along State Road 46, where I'll utilize an existing 8-foot wide multi-use path, and the same when I turn south and west along Lake Mary Boulevard until that multi-use path runs out. Then I'll utilize a bike lane to get all the way into Lake Mary itself, and I'll continue along Lake Mary Boulevard until I pick up the Seminole Trail along Reinhardt Road and follow it all the way up back to Lake Monroe, and then the Riverwalk Trail will bring me back to my starting point today at the shore of Lake Monroe. This route is available as a GPX file on ridewithgps.com. Select from the drop-down menu Routes and do a search for Ed Cycles Sanford Lake Mary. I'll also post a link to that file in the video description for this video on YouTube. Veterans Memorial Park is located at 110 West Seminole Boulevard. It was dedicated in 1927 as a memorial to those who died in World War I. However, in 1973, it was rededicated to honor and remember all U.S. veterans. It features individual war markers dedicated to specific U.S. wars, including the Civil War, the War of 1812, the Vietnam War, World War I, and World War II. It also features individual pavers purchased by family members and inscribed with the names of specific veterans being honored. Informational markers are located throughout the park. I'll begin the mileage counter here at Veterans Memorial Park at the intersection of Seminole Boulevard and Park Avenue. It's a great day for a bike ride. This first segment goes about 3 blocks south along Park Avenue to 1st Street. Immediately in front of Veterans Memorial Park is this roundabout. After going around the roundabout and continuing south on Park Avenue, I go past the Sanford City Hall on the right and the Seminole County Courthouse on the left. In the next block along Park Avenue between Fulton Street and Commercial Street, on the side of the pedal-driven bicycle shop, is this mural that I found interesting, very nicely done. And on the other side of the pedal-driven building, actually it's on the wall of the next building to the south, is this mural. There are many other murals sprinkled throughout the downtown business area of Sanford. This colorful mural is 63 feet long and is located at the side of the building at 211 East 1st Street. This mural was painted in 2023 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the City of Sanford Fire Department. There are also various sculptures located throughout the downtown Sanford area. These first ones I'm showing are along the Riverwalk and are referred to as the Riverwalk Sculpture Walk. The ones that are mostly along 1st Street are referred to as the Downtown Sanford Sculpture Walk. I'm going to deviate slightly from my intended route to go right onto Commercial Street to talk about Henry Plant. Henry Plant was from Connecticut and founded the railroad and steamship lines in the Sanford area. In 1882, Henry Plant formed the Plant Investment Company, shortened as PICO, in Sanford.
This was part of the huge eastern U.S. rail system that Plant had established. In Florida, his rail lines moved the burgeoning industries of citrus, celery, lumber, and phosphate.
This building is the Pico Building. Built in the 1880s for Henry Plant, it was built to accommodate travelers arriving on Henry Plant's steamship and rail lines. Designed in a Turkish style, it originally had an onion-shaped dome on one of the corners that is no longer here.
Continuing south on Park Avenue in one short block, I arrive at the intersection of Park Avenue and First Street.
This is First Street, the main street through downtown Sanford. It's a main business location and has many restaurants along here, many other shops, and also hosts many events throughout the year in this area. One block east of where I'm standing here, one block east of Park Avenue, is a farmer's market that takes place in Magnolia Square every Saturday morning.
Magnolia Square is located on the south side of First Street. I really like First Street with its brick paved street and many brick buildings. The city of Sanford was established by a man named Henry Shelton Sanford. He was born in Connecticut in 1823. In 1870, he purchased 20 square miles and later established the city of Sanford. The location on the south shore of Lake Monroe was the furthest south that commerce ships could navigate on the St. Johns River. Sensing opportunity, Mr. Sanford built a wharf, several hotels, a general store, and a sawmill. He also established citrus groves and experimented with 100 varieties of citrus. Eventually, hard winter freezes doomed his citrus investments. While Mr. Sanford never established a permanent home in Florida, he did have a profound impact on the development of the city that bears his name. Located just on the other side of the farmers market is the Ritz Theater. The Ritz Theater was originally known as the Mullane Theater and was constructed in 1923. The design was based on European models of opera houses of the time. In 1936, the name of this building was changed to the Ritz Theater. The years that followed saw many closings and rebirths of the use of this building. Today, it serves as a performance venue featuring plays, concerts, and other events. Just like the murals and sculptures throughout the downtown area, you'll also find these utility box artworks. I think they do enhance the flavor and character of downtown Sanford. You'll also find these historical markers giving details about some of the historical aspects of the area and how the town got developed. I'm going to go off-route again to the west end of First Street. These brick archways on each side of the street mark the entry into the downtown Sanford area. These signs indicate the city's commitment to planting and maintaining trees and also its promotion of the planting of milkweed to sustain the life of monarch butterflies. A little bit further along on First Street is Henry's Depot. This building is located on the site of the original depot constructed by Henry Plant in the 1800s. This historical marker located in front of the building gives some details on the location of the rail lines in this area, including the location of this depot. The building that is here today dates back to 1940 when the original train depot was demolished and this building was constructed. Today, the building functions as a food hall and is home to many businesses serving a variety of types of foods. The city of Sanford provides a free trolley service that operates between the Sanford Sunrail Station and downtown Sanford. Getting back on my route today, I'm now going to ride east on First Street to get to the Sanford Museum. Sanford's population was 61,000 according to the 2020 census, and it is the county seat of Seminole County. This building is the location of the Sanford Welcome and Information Center. The Orange Belt Rail Line was established in 1885 and consisted of a rail line from Sanford to St. Petersburg. In the 1890s, this rail system became part of Henry Plant's rail system. The route of this rail line eventually became multiple bicycle trails, including the Seminole Trail and the West Orange Trail. The Sanford Museum is open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 520 East 1st Street in Sanford. Here's a very quick look at some of the displays. Snapper lawnmowers were invented by brothers in nearby Montverde, Florida. There's a display about Waves, the women's branch of the U.S. Naval Reserve during World War II. General Joseph Hutchinson, who accepted the Japanese surrender in the Philippines in World War II, lived in Sanford from prior to World War I until his death in 1982. There's an eagle from the flagpole at Veterans Memorial Park. There's displays on the U.S. Naval Air Station Sanford, artifacts from Sanford history, display on Fort Mellon and the Second Seminole War, early maps of Sanford, celery-themed items for Sanford's production of celery, an early chemical fire engine, a display on the auto train whose southern terminus is in Sanford, a display on Swedish immigrants in the community of New Uppsala in Sanford, founders of the Good Samaritan Home, Ruby and Timothy Wilson, several displays on local sports and music industry figures in the Sanford area, city namesake Henry Sanford, photos and biographical information including furniture from his house, and an entire room that's a reproduction room of the library in Henry Sanford's Connecticut home. From the Sanford Museum, I'll cycle a half a mile to get to Mellonville Avenue. As I cycle east on 1st Street, I'll go past Fort Mellon Park. This is the site of where Fort Mellon was, and Fort Mellon was originally called Camp Monroe and was renamed in 1837. Next to Fort Mellon Park is this 1925 Mediterranean-style building. It was built as the Forest Lake Hotel. In 1930, it was renamed the Mayfair Hotel. And in 1947, the New York Giants baseball team bought the property. It became the destination of many celebrities of the era, such as Marilyn Monroe, Joe DiMaggio, and Al Capone. Turning right onto Mellonville Avenue, I will make a quick stop at the historic Sanford Memorial Stadium and then go a bit further to State Road 46. As I record this ride in September of 2025, there is in construction a bicycle trail along Mellonville Avenue. It is not yet open for use, but when it is complete, it will go south along Mellonville to Celery Avenue and then go east along Celery to connect with the State Road 415 trail. The historic Sanford Memorial Stadium was built in 1951. It was initially used as the spring training field of the New York Giants. Among those who have played in this stadium are Jackie Robinson, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, and Tim Raines. Continuing on Mellonville Avenue, I'll go across Celery Avenue. Mellonville Avenue, while not traffic-free, has much less traffic than on Celery Avenue, and in my opinion, the cars do travel slower along Mellonville. There is no bike lane here, and in some sections there's no sidewalk, some sections there is. Here I'll turn left along State Road 46. This next segment is 2.7 miles long and utilizes a multi-use path along the north side of State Road 46. There are also bike lanes on both directions along State Road 46. Here I go past the Sanford Airport and Millennium Middle School. This very busy intersection has State Road 415 to the left, and Lake Mary Boulevard begins to the right. There are traffic crossing signals here to get across both State Road 415 and across State Road 46. The next 4 miles of this route utilizes a multi-use path again, this time along the east side and the south side of Lake Mary Boulevard. On the other side of the road is the Boomba Sports Complex, which is a 100-acre tournament quality complex that can accommodate multiple sports. It has 15 lighted athletic fields, a central pavilion, restrooms, and bleachers and bullpens and so forth. I'm now going past the entrance to the Orlando Sanford International Airport. It began life as a naval air station in 1942 and was used as a military flight training school during World War II. In 1969, the airfield was shut down and the land conveyed to the city of Sanford and developed as a general aviation facility. Commercial airline service began in 1995. I've now reached Ohio Avenue, which is where the multi-use path unfortunately ends. Now it looks like there is sidewalk continuing, a normal width sidewalk. I suppose you could use that. I choose to now utilize the bike lane in the direction that I am heading, and I'll be on this bike lane for another 2.5 miles until I get to the other side of US 1792, where I can once again utilize a wider multi-use path. This intersection is Sanford Avenue to the right and Ronald Reagan Boulevard to the left. This is the intersection of Lake Mary Boulevard with routes US 17 and 92. Bike lane does continue on the other side, but there is also an 8-foot wide multi-use path that appears on the other side of the intersection, which I'll utilize. Lake Mary has a population of nearly 17,000 in the 2020 census. It began life as a home to lumbering, turpentine, and citrus growers. A Lake Mary post office was established in 1887, and the city was incorporated in 1973. Lake Mary has an area of about 9.7 square miles. Among businesses who have their headquarters in Lake Mary are the American Automobile Association, Scholastic Book Fairs, and Dixon Ticonderoga, the producer of pencils and art supplies. At this point, my route is going to deviate slightly from Lake Mary Boulevard. I'm going to go to the right up to the Lake Mary Sunrail station and go past the station and over to the Lake Mary Museum and into the downtown Lake Mary area with a quick stop at the Lake Mary Farmers Market and back out to Lake Mary Boulevard. At the Lake Mary Sunrail station, I could continue along Lake Mary Boulevard, but I'm going to turn into the Sunrail station. Note that the Sunrail does accommodate bicycles. They do have a way to secure your bicycle on the trains, so they could be used to get to this Sunrail station, for example, and there's another station that I'll take a closer look at in Sanford. At the left end of the platform is this paved way for you to get across the tracks and onto a path on the other side of the tracks. Following this path will get you to Lakeview Avenue, and Lakeview Avenue runs through the heart of downtown Lake Mary. I'm now at the intersection of Lakeview Avenue and Country Club Road across from the Lake Mary Museum. This building housing the Lake Mary Museum was built in 1926 by Frank Evans as a community center. The building later served as a store, a pool hall, a church, and then as City Hall. The museum began in 1994. At the time of this recording, the city was celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Lake Mary Elementary School. This museum is proud to join in the celebration by featuring multiple exhibits telling the history of the school through the years. The museum's curator, Jane, is a wealth of information on all aspects of the history of Lake Mary.
My name is Jane Henovich, and I'm the curator of the Lake Mary Museum. And we're going to go on a little tour so you can see our exhibits. But the function of the museum is just to keep the history of Lake Mary alive. And what we like to do is get kids in here so that they can learn where they came from, what their city was about, and how much it's changed. So I'm going to start with one of our most popular people in the museum, and it would be a horse named Tonka. And Tonka is buried underneath City Hall, under the east end of City Hall. His owner, Harriet Mixon, he was born there, raised there, died there. So she had him buried on the grounds. And then when Lake Mary wanted to buy that land to put City Hall, her only caveat in the contract was that Tonka would not be disturbed. His grave had to be left as it was. So because he only lived from 1962 to 1980. And I swear that's because he drank at the Lake Mary pub all the time. But the City Hall was built in 1990. So she just wanted to make sure that he wasn't disturbed. And that was actually in the contract, the sale contract for that property, is that Tonka would not be disturbed. And this plaque sits outside the main entrance to City Hall. And that's what Tonka looked like. And he used to just walk around the streets, and people used to feed him. And he'd go to receptions at the fire hall, and people used to give him stuff to drink. And we even have an accounting of he was too inebriated to walk home, and she had to tie him to a pole. Harriet had to tie him to a pole so he wouldn't hurt himself. So that's the story of Tonka. And he is the mascot for the Lake Mary Fire Department. On their softball team hats, they have his picture on it. So yeah, he is quite a part, and still is quite a part of the city. These are desks from the 1925 school, but there was a 1885 school over here in this case, and it was constructed at a cost of $449.75. It held grades 1 through 9. And I know that sounds like it would be crammed, but there were no people in Lake Mary. So we had maybe 1885, 120 people in the entire city. So there wasn't exactly a lot of kids in school. And once they got to 9th grade, that was the end. There was no high school in Lake Mary until 1981. so they could go to Sanford and go to high school, but most of them just found an occupation or an apprenticeship or worked for their family in the citrus groves or whatever their family did. But this is our 1885 school display. This is our Evans case. This is Dr. William Harrison Evans, who brought his family down here in 1882. And Frank Evans was 3 years old, but Dr. Evans had 3 grown daughters that he brought down as well. Dr. Evans, this is his doctor kit from the end of the 1800s.
The museum also has displays, including this one on the history of Girl Scout Troop 160, on the Lake Mary Fire Department and the Lake Mary Police Department. Oh, and a photo that includes the Mary after which the lake was named. For more information, go to lakemarymuseum.com. It is said that the city is named after Mary Sundell, who, along with her husband, the Reverend John Sundell, settled on the north shore of the lake, which now bears Mary's name. The lake, Lake Mary, is located south of Lake Mary Boulevard and just east of Country Club Road. This part of Lake Mary is very busy, particularly on Saturday mornings when the farmers market is open. The farmers market is located on the east side of 4th Street in an area called Central Park. I had a quick walkthrough of the farmers market. There appeared to me to be a variety of vendor offerings. I'm not well versed on area farmers markets, so cannot comment on how this one compares, but it looked to be a popular weekly event. Of course, there are many businesses that are open along Lakeview Avenue and 4th Street every day of the week. Leaving the farmers market in half a block, I'll turn right back onto the multi-use path along Lake Mary Boulevard. I'll follow this for about 1.3 miles and pick up the Cross Seminole Trail. This is Trailhead Park on the Cross Seminole Trail. It's located on the northeast corner of the intersection of Lake Mary Boulevard with Reinhardt Road. From here, I'll follow the Cross Seminole Trail until it intersects the Riverwalk Trail up on Lake Monroe. This segment of the route is 6.5 miles long and is on a bicycle trail, the Cross Seminole Trail, that runs parallel and adjacent to Reinhardt Road, State Road 46, and Monroe Road. The Cross Seminole Trail was established in 2002 and utilizes the former railroad bed of the Sanford and Indian River Railroad. Though one section of the trail opened in 2002, expansion of the trail took place over several years to reach its full length of 28 miles from Orange County to Volusia County. Turn right onto the Riverwalk Trail, and along the way I'll show you where to turn to find the trail that leads to the Sanford Sunrail Station. This is where you would turn if you wish to visit the Central Florida Zoo. To find the trail that goes to the Sanford Sunrail Station, you'll need to look for the Regatta Shores apartment homes, and this is them on the other side of the road here. They appear at about mile 24.1. To access the trail, you'll need to go past Regatta Shores just a little bit to get across Seminole Boulevard and backtrack for a short distance to get to the trail that runs along the eastern edge of Regatta Shores. The distance from the Riverwalk Trail to the Sunrail Station is 1.1 mile, half of that being on a bike trail and the other half being on a bike lane. Back on the Riverwalk Trail and resuming my mileage at mile 24.3 where I left it. It's now a very short distance along the Riverwalk Trail to my starting point today in Sanford.
I'm back at my starting point today at Veterans Memorial Park on the shore of Lake Monroe. That completes today's ride, but a visit to Sanford doesn't feel complete without a stop at Hollerbach's. A quick reminder that today's route is available as a GPX file on ridewithgps.com. Select routes from the drop-down menu and search for Ed Cycles Sanford Lake Mary. Thanks for watching. I encourage you to get out and enjoy all the rides and the trails in the Central Florida area. It's a great day for a bike ride. Props.